Hello and welcome back to Files Obscura. I know it's been a very long time since we've been here. It's been, 6 weeks? Something like that?
It's been a while.
It's been crazy, and there's been a lot going on. I know we went on a little unscheduled hiatus for the holiday season, but we're back now. But we're going to have a lot more to talk about, scheduling and how episodes are going to go after the episode. This is a very informal episode like some of our previous ones, but it's kind of hard not to talk about the storming of the Capitol, the failed stupid coup that happened, which is why we are very informal right now. Of course, I have myself, Aaron, and I have Vlad with me today.
Hello.
How you doing, Vlad?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd say these last few weeks were really busy at work, so I've been, holidays are always kind of chaotic everywhere you go, so...
I mean, long story short, we're both pretty drained from everything that's been going on.
Yeah, things are back to normal. Well,
relative. It's hard to even say that because not 3 days ago, we had a bunch of MAGA idiots storm the Capitol. So to say things are going back to normal, no.
Yeah.
Because this will have huge ramifications for what's going to come.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it right now. I think we should just wait till we get on topic.
Well, I mean, this is on topic. Everything that's coming and everything that... Well, you know what? Let's roll it back a bit. Because I am starting my own, I don't want to say political focused, because it's not the intent, but a technology-focused channel that brings up problems in society. That's the focus of that channel. And in trying to set all that up, I've been doing research in what happened, what led up to this. So we kind of need to take it back to just before the presidential election. So remember when Trump was getting on stage and he was campaigning to a bunch of people saying, if we don't win, it's because they stole it. He was already planting those ideas in people's heads.
Oh, he's been, from the get-go. I mean, I kind of saw it coming from a mile away, to be honest. It's not...
Oh, no. People who woke up saw this a mile away. Because, I didn't mean to, cut you off on your trail of thought there.
Oh, it's fine.
But, yeah, no, people have been seeing this for a long time. The problem is the people who actually have some influence and some control, a.k.a. our congressmen, our media hosts, our, local officials, our neighbors, our church leaders, have all been spouting the same false rhetoric. That was the ultimate problem there.
Also, how many times have you heard an idiot online talking about, taking the country back and oh, come on, this is...
Well, here's my question when they say that. It's take the country back from who? From what?
Yeah. I think it's really funny, though, because I feel like if Biden lost the election, this wouldn't have happened. This is very true. And it shouldn't have happened either way. It doesn't matter who won or who lost. Neither side should do something like this.
Oh, without a doubt.
Completely uncalled for. And you know what? It's perfect. All this happened right after the Black Lives Matter protest about, what would you say?
It happened back in June.
Yeah. So not immediately after, but I think it's...
But the build up to this point happened almost immediately. You're right.
And it's hilarious because you hear it all the time. Like when it was happening, when Black Lives Matter, the death of George Floyd, you hear a lot of people being like, "Oh, they're gonna burn their city down, and it's complete chaos, and you're never gonna get your point across, right?" And then the same people, whenever they go to the Capitol and they storm the place down, it's like, "Oh, well, you should have seen this coming," or oh, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself a little because I feel like we're going to talk about this.
We will. There's three things that I will definitely dive into with what you're saying with the BLM protest versus what MAGA protested and the double standard and XYZ.
There's a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah. We'll get there because I have a lot of opinions. Obviously, it's me.
It's amazing. this whole thing. It's amazing that
amazing in the worst way.
In the worst way possible. Yes, of course. It's amazing just seeing all the things going into play right now, right? All the different perspectives and people who's saying what at this time, and what did they say before it?
We'll get into that because there's a lot about it I want to hammer home when we get there. But you started with the BLM protests. This is whenever we're campaigning. Everyone's campaigning for their reelection or their first election to their Congress seat, and we're talking about the presidential election. big year.
Yeah.
Obviously, big year where Trump failed to be a president, failed to be a leader of any caliber. As these buildups are happening, we're seeing more and more and more that it's getting to be very tight. Democrats barely won the House. I mean, there's less than I think it's, no, it's just over a 2/3 percentage is Democrats. But when it came down to the Senate, after Biden won, there was an issue because most of the Senate leaders happen to still be red states, but there were other states that were flipping. And so there became this big concern over one state, Georgia. Georgia was so debated because it changed the fate of who was going to lead this country. Will the Republicans get enough people to be able to block any form of legislation in? Because that's all it takes. It takes one person, in a majority party to be able to derail any forms that get passed. Or would the Democrats accomplish the impossible and tie the Senate, making the VP the tiebreaker, who happens to be a Democrat, so the Democrats would win? How would this go about? And as they were going on, we saw Perdue and Loeffler campaigning and smearing and all their hate speech and rhetoric against people. I mean, Loeffler put out ads that actually made me like Warnock more. Did you see these ads?
I don't know if I did.
Okay, these were ads saying that they were, dangerously progressive, that they were dangerously liberal, using parts of speech where, like, Reverend Warnock would say stuff like Palestinian lives matter, or say stuff like your vote counts and stuff like that. Like, that's dangerously progressive.
I really want to know what okay, when I think of dangerously progressive, I can't imagine it, to be honest. It's because
here's the question: dangerous to who?
I know who.
That's the thing that nobody asks on the right. Dangerous to who?
Who's
towards your livelihood? No, the people who are dangerous to your livelihood are the corporate assholes who rule your life in every which way and tell you that this is the only way that it can be done, so therefore it is the best way to be done. Anything else is not the best way, so therefore it's the worst way. That's how the logic works.
I want to know who's in danger of this progressive
billionaires.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, it is the billionaires. There's over 600 billionaires in this country versus 3.28 million Americans. Sounds like a lot of discrepancy there.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll leave my anti-corporate rhetoric for another day, even though it is heavily seated in what's going on here.
I gotcha.
Because there was so much about Loeffler that I really didn't like. She wasn't, she wasn't voted in. She was appointed by somebody into her position because of special circumstances. The senator before her fell ill. I don't remember why. I don't remember his name or anything like that, but he fell ill and appointed her. She took office. So she wasn't voted in. But Perdue was voted in. Perdue actually had a very strong chance of beating Ossoff. But then Trump came in and kept making things worse. Mm-hmm. He would go down to Georgia to campaign for Perdue and Loeffler, but in doing so, couldn't put his own ego aside. His hubris killed him in this. Mm-hmm. His hubris killed any chance of winning the Senate, because I don't know if you were watching all the countless live streams and debates about Georgia's polling whenever like the people's votes on the runoff vote were pushed in.
I remember it happening. There were quite a few states were being flipped, and I mean honestly, it's kind of hard to keep up with all of it. So
it is hard to keep up with all of it, but I'm so ADD, I've been able to do it. So the way that Georgia works when they do their Senate elections is typically you would have most of your senators, since they serve 6-year terms, they would be up for re-election at different years. So you wouldn't have 2 senators running in the same state in the same year. It's very conflicting. Like I said, the reason it happened this year was because Loeffler wasn't voted in. She was appointed in due to such special circumstances, so she had to run. There was no choice.
Yeah.
Perdue was already up for re-election, but this is the thing that scared me, was because you have somebody who wasn't such a super pronounced Trump supporter. He was more of the corporate Republican, the one who's there for business and business only. He sided with Trump, but I think that's more due to party affiliations rather than actual he agreed with his policies or whatever.
Which it's really odd because you're right. I think a lot of people who Ted Cruz.
Yeah. Oh my
Ted Cruz
God.
has no reason.
I will get to Ted Cruz.
Oh my God. There's so much to unravel with Ted Cruz from like the beginning of this whole Trump thing. I mean, he was running against Trump.
I know.
And I don't
Trump called his wife a what?
Actually, I don't remember. Was it a...
Dude, he called his wife countless things, but basically it summed up to being fucking fugly.
Didn't he? He called his wife
insulted
ugly.
his wife on many occasions.
His father.
And his father.
Yeah.
And he still backed him. But like I said, we'll get to Cruz. Trust me. I will get to Cruz. But to get back into it just real quick, the way the special election only occurred because Loeffler's predecessor left in an unusual fashion. He was sick. He felt like he wasn't fit for office anymore, and he retired early. So that's already why we have 2 elections happening in Georgia. The thing that made it even a runoff is that most states don't do this, but in Georgia, you have to get over 50% of the state majority to win. You have to get it. Neither of any campaign runs got over 50%. Originally, I believe it was when it came to Purdue and Ossoff, Purdue definitely had a lead because there were less people going against Purdue. I think there was only like 4 people originally in that race. Purdue took the lead, but he only had like 39%. Then after that was declared, they were definitely going to a runoff. But what surprised me was how many people were going against Loeffler. There was like 7 Republicans and 5 Democrats or something like that, all running this race, including Loeffler and Warnock. Well, when it came down to the runoff, they took the 2 biggest candidates from both parties, which was Loeffler, who was already in Congress because of her special circumstance, and Warnock, who had been campaigning and rallying so many people behind positive messages. Now, he's a little lax on some things I think he should be a little harder on, but I'm not a Georgian. He's not my senator, so I'm not going to really get into it.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of see why it got to this point. The reason I found out, a little tidbit, that Georgia even has their 51% rule to not go into a runoff is because they knew way back when Georgia was like creating their legislature and whatnot, is that if you create these special conditions, it would be nigh impossible for a black person to win. Like, that was literally the reasoning.
Really?
Yes, I don't remember the guy's name who created this system, but years later, whenever he was asked about it, he said, yes, this is exactly why it was created. Because say you have, a pretty strong Democratic leader, but he doesn't make 50%, but you have 3-4 strong Republican leaders, and then you're forced to a runoff. All those white Republicans are going to back the one white Republican more often than the black, Democrat. That was the reasoning.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's true. You look at Georgia's history, it's been remarkably red for years, a big part because of this. And so that's the thing I wanted to be understood, was not even just the fact that they flipped Georgia in a special election that in most years would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
They got Ossoff and Warnock to flip the impossible. I'm saying it in a way like I'm hoping you understand just how monumental it is.
It's huge, yeah.
It's more like this was the nail in the coffin for Republicans. And then what Trump did next is what made it worse. I always told all my friends and family, beware the 6th, beware the 6th, beware the 6th. Because that's when the certification was happening. We all knew it. Mm-hmm. We've seen it on the news. They're talking about how Trump, way back even to the election, saying that if we lost, they stole it. And that he was talking about the 6th when they would certify it. And he always said, we can change it here. Yeah. We can change it here. We can change it here.
What's really insane is this isn't his whole base. This isn't everybody who supports him. Like, let's make this clear. I know.
No, Trump's out for himself.
Yeah, he's out for himself. But there is a minority in his base. And you know what? I don't know how big this minority is. A minority could be, thousands 49%. And thousands of people. It could be.
Because the bottom line is like, yes, it could be thousands and thousands of people. But I mean, a minority can still be 49%.
Exactly. So there's a minority in his followers. Their following of Trump is cult-like. I don't even have to tell you this because...
It's not cult-like. It is a cult.
It's a cult.
He is an economic-based cult leader.
You're right. You're completely right.
Call him what he is.
Thank you for correcting me. It's a cult. The whole thing is a cult. It is very obvious that it's a cult. I don't know how people fall for this. Well, actually, I do know, because it's a cult. That's what it does.
Well, it's not just that. The reason that people fell for it is because he says good things. He calls them his people. He says he's the guy who's going to lead the way. Like, he does everything a cult leader does. He changes their name. He doesn't call them the American people. He calls them his people. He changes their positions to say, you're poor, you're fucked over. They're the ones fucking you over. Yeah. I can change that. He leads them in this way, spouting all the good things without showing them what's reality.
Yeah. And it's the thing, it's like, well, first of all, his whole, the way he's running this, he is running it like a business. It's like, hey, here's the hat, buy the hat, support me, support. Isn't that really weird? How many presidents sell merchandise like Trump does? Like, just think about it. He created this image, make America great again. The red hat, like the whole thing, it's like it's supposed to hype you up, right? And you see it whenever they stormed the Capitol. You saw the flags, right?
Yeah, what he did is for 4 years, or 5 years, let's say, because he took that year to campaign first and then won the presidency. He not only did the impossible by winning presidency in the first place, but he gave you your attire, the MAGA hats, the Trump flags, the banners, make America great again, stop the steal. He had been doing everything he can to give them everything, to arm them mentally to be prepared for this. There's a reason why Trump's 40% block is important. And we'll talk about that in just a second, because the 40% block is exactly what led to the coup happening. And I want to acknowledge this now, that if there's any Republicans listening, any diehard Republicans listening right now, who try to make any excuse or downplay what happened, like somebody very close to me did, downplay what happened by saying, oh, that wasn't really a coup, or it's just a bunch of idiots, it's whatever. You don't acknowledge the ramifications of what happened. The last time the Capitol was stormed was during the War of 1812, when a British monarchy came back to retaliate the American colonies the American states at the time for the Revolutionary War that they lost. 2 years later, after they campaigned and sieged near D.C., they came and burned down the White House. They burned down the Capitol.
Yeah.
And in doing so, completely smeared the idea of an American country, because they killed our symbol of democracy. So when over 200 years later, it's happened again, they took the people's house, and they are the most stupid, ignorant people to do so.
But we were this close. If let's say those politicians didn't get out of that building, they would have died. They would have been torn limb to limb.
Like, yes, that is an important thing. Of course, like there were people going for Mike Pence's head.
Yeah,
there were people going there to literally steal the ceremonial mahogany boxes that we used to hold the votes.
I mean,
they were going to go there and destroy them.
You saw what they did to that one police officer. They dragged him down the stairs.
A police officer died.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? He died from injuries sustained because of these people. And yes, like I said, we are going to get to that point about the discrepancy between Black Lives Matter and MAGA, what happened when they went to D.C.
Yeah.
Like, we will get to that point. But the thing that I want to hammer in the most, and I believe Joe Scarborough says it best, he recently, like the day of, came out with not came out with a video. He was on air and he dropped the F-bomb several fucking times, which you don't do on live television.
Yeah.
He knows you don't do that on live television. He also served in Congress. I did not know that fact because, up until recently, I didn't care about politics or news or anything.
Yeah.
But when I found that out, and like, of course this man is pissed off and amazed. Of course he's angry. He served there. He knows just how valuable, not only as a symbol, but as an institution, our democracy is and the state capitol is. When you storm that and you wave Confederate flags, when you wave the rebel flag, the traitor's flag, not only just the Confederate, but Trump flag too, when you take down the American flag and resurrect a Trump flag, you have not only spat on the face of everyone that you say that you care about, you have spat on yourself. You have said that your own vote doesn't matter, that you can just take it by force because this guy says you can't. Rudy Giuliani, an hour before this happened, said, let's have trial by combat. What do you think was going to happen? You had a bunch of people for months coming to DC because you told them to, because you told them that that their vote was stolen from them. You had a bunch of people saying that if they aren't going to give you what you want, we're going to take it by force. People came with guns. People came with long rifles, which is very, very dangerous. They came with Molotov cocktails. They came with 2 pipe bombs that they were sent to deliver at the RNC and DNC. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, when people excuse the actions of the people who stormed the Capitol
or downplay it by any measure,
downplay it, what I'm hearing is so you don't.
Oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
we can totally do this again as long as it's not that bad.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you don't care that this country was made into a circus, basically at this point. You know, it's all fun and games. You know, you can storm the Capitol. It doesn't matter. It's like, whoa. So you don't care that we
literally were seconds away from losing our democracy every second this continued.
Yeah, and it's so. Oh man, I keep thinking about the fact that okay, if the situation was flipped and these were Obama supporters, which by the way, I've never seen anybody obsess over Obama the way that these people obsess over Trump.
Here's the difference though. We respect Obama. They dangerously love Trump.
They'll do anything for him. They'll die for Trump, literally.
Because I'll admit, yes, I like Obama. There's a lot of his policies, though, I disagree with, or I felt he could have been a little stricter on. But that's what you do. You put a centrist in place, and then everything's the same. But it's a conversation for a different podcast.
The point being, no human should ever be put on a pedestal this high.
No. But the good thing is, the higher they are, the harder they fall. And dude, have you seen everybody turning on him? We'll get back to other details about the riots here in just a second. Did you see how quickly everyone turned on him?
Dude, I do not sympathize whatsoever with anybody who feels betrayed. Because I'm like, how?
I don't either. I will admit, 4 years ago, when Trump was announced president, I was one of those people originally thinking, you know what? These politicians aren't really helping us. Get a businessman in, he'll change it up. I didn't realize he changed it up so fucking violently bad. Within the first 6 months and all that, I really started to pick it up. I really started waking up. But last year was truly the most pivotal moment for me that really started to see things for what they are. And I hate that it took me this long. I really genuinely do. But I'm glad I know. I'm glad I can see it now. Mm-hmm. Because at the bottom line, I always told myself it doesn't matter the person saying it. What matters is the outcome of what happens. This is the outcome of what happens when you let a demagogue rule our country for 4 years.
Yeah.
Because policies don't matter to him. People don't matter to him. Economics don't even matter to him as much as he says he's pro-business and whatnot. The bottom line of what matters to him is the power you give him by saying, we love you. We love you. Give us what you promise. We love you.
He knows. And I mean, when he first started running, he even said it himself. People don't care if Trump goes out and decides to shoot somebody in the middle of the street because they'll still worship him. No, he can't do anything wrong in their eyes, or I mean, at least to a good amount of them.
Right.
But I've never seen any kind of obsessive behavior like this for a Republican president. Or any precedent for that matter. Not even Democratic precedents.
You would never see anything like this.
Maybe it's a good thing that there's nothing spectacular about some of these guys, because it's
no, that's how it should be though.
Yeah,
our politics should be boring.
Exactly.
Our discussions about politics shouldn't be this monumental. They shouldn't be this divisive either.
Because I mean, really think about it. If a person keeps trying to make a spectacle out of politics. Just think about that.
I keep saying this is because I know I'm pissing off a lot of my friends and family lately, and I will continue to do so because I feel it's right. When you talk about traitors, they are traitors.
Yeah. Keep
that in mind. I want to go back to a life where I can just care about video games and whatnot and not really have to worry about who was doing X, Y, and Z. But my bottom line is people need to just wake up, do what's right, so we can go back to the mundane. It's not hard to do what's right. But apparently the hard part is convincing them to do what's right. So either way, like I said, I've kind of hammered in that one point. I wanted to bring up 3 topics real quick.
Okay.
Three points real quick about what happened. Obviously, the first thing is the second they got in, I saw this tweet. They should consider every piece of documentation, every information that they have on their computers, every server, all that should be considered compromised and should be thrown out.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But this also means that everything about our security is done. There's a reason why so many countries had come out saying that the symbol of American democracy has fallen, that we are a disgrace to what we used to be, that we are no longer, the pillars that we always propped ourselves up to be because of this. We didn't see that in air quotes, our fight to preserve our democracy and preserve our freedom, we did everything to tear it down.
Yeah. We let Trump run for this line. I mean, he's done numerous things that would have gotten anybody else fired from any kind of job, right?
But because it was Trump, we just accepted it because it's like, oh, hey, it's Trump. He's doing another wacky thing, whatever.
Dude, if it was the CEO of Disney or Sony or some shit, they would be fired. They would be gone. I mean, like, this is the United States government we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The US of A. It is the biggest thing ever. And we just let anybody just do whatever they want whenever they're in the Oval Office? That doesn't sound right.
No, not even close. It is a complete bastardization of what we're supposed to be doing. It is a complete middle finger to everyone in the United States who voted fairly, who voted for who they wanted, and wanted a better future. It is a spit in our face, even for the Trump supporters, even for them. Because supporting this message, supporting this act, says, I don't care about your vote. I don't care about our democratic process. Even if that's what you think you're fighting for, that is what your actions are saying. Your actions saying your vote doesn't matter because I can take it by force if I want to.
Yeah.
But with that comes to my second point. Because this wasn't just a MAGA herd, running through Capitol. This was a war on two fronts about our democracy. Because as bad as the MAGA chuds were, the 149 congressmen that joined in to object, which one of them is my own. I don't know if you and I are in the same district because I moved since we started recording. But my district leader, his name is Troy Niels. Troy Niels needs to go. He ran on a pro-Trump platform. He ran on a very, pro-white, supremacist kind of message, even though he obviously didn't go out and say, hey, I support the KKK, nothing like Purdue was doing, even though she technically didn't say that. She fucking was taking pictures with KKK former leaders. That's just as bad. But my point is, I did a little bit of research on this guy. Found out that he used to be the Fort Bend County sheriff there. In his time there, he had been noted several times for not watching over people who were suicide risks. 2 people that I found had died under his watch due to negligent officers who didn't care. One of them wasn't even around when the dude was asking for help. He left for some 2 hours or so. He was gone from his post. Another one died almost immediately, because he just killed himself, and they didn't even try to do much to resuscitate him or anything. He has an astounding 95% arrest record for Latinos. All of his, I'm talking about his entire department, not just him. Yeah. His entire department, 95% of their stops and arrests were Latinos. He would often say stuff about Harris County, inferring Houston, saying that he doesn't want any of Houston influencing, what's going on in Fort Bend
I know
County.
what that means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't want no Hispanics, no blacks, no gays, lesbians, or anything like that. No Muslims, nothing that Houston proudly supports. The diversity that we have. He doesn't want that. He ran on that and he won.
Yeah.
He won against what was his name? Sri Preston Kulkarni. I loved that guy. It was one of the first times I actually started caring about, congressmen in my area. I saw his ads and I loved it. Kulkarni called 150 different language-based, demographics and would talk to them in their language or something. I don't know the actual number, but a man who goes that far to talk to you in your own native tongue, to tell you why he wants you to vote for him. That goes, I may be an English speaker, but that action speaks volumes to me.
That's really fun. You can tell somebody cares. You can tell there's sexual.
He went the extra mile. And we got this guy, this dumb looking white motherfucker. I'm sorry, he looks stupid as hell. And he's supposed to represent me. I'm sorry. This racist, Trump supporting motherfucker is supposed to represent me? No, he objected to the vote. He, along with Ted Cruz and several, it was 18 other, Texas congressmen also voted, to object to the count, to the certification. I can't help but think, as soon as Cory Bush said, I'm introducing this legislation to get them out, I'm like, yes, put my name on it. And it is. There are petitions out there, obviously not Cory Bush's because I'm not in Congress, but there are other petitions out there trying to get these people out. I started my own trying to get Troy Niels out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't think I'm going to be the guy that can convince you to vote for me to get him out, but we got to get him out. I don't care. Give me Kulkarni, please. That guy sounded amazing. That guy cared, But no, it won't happen because the district that he's in is so gerrymandered to be literally 90% white counties. It's never going to happen. It's just the unfortunate reality. We need to get rid of so much stuff, but it's so ingrained into what America is today. It's never going to happen. And it makes me scared. It makes me terrified. It makes me angry that this guy, this traitor, is supposed to represent me. I want him gone. I want him out. That's my bottom line. I don't care. I will take nothing else. He does not represent me.
Yeah, I really feel like I know we keep saying this, but yes, Donald Trump is a traitor.
It's important. It's important to hammer that point in. You can't hammer it in enough. He is a traitor.
Yeah. So and we should do what we do whenever somebody is a traitor and kick him out.
Yeah, exactly. Not only this is where we need to
don't let him run next election.
It's not even that. Like, impeach him. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to be in office to impeach him or invoke the 25th Amendment. Either one of these charges is enough to make him never be able to run for any elected position again, ever.
Yeah.
But not only that, he has felony charges that are state-level charges that the federal law can't touch. He can't be pardoned from that, especially with what's going on in Georgia. I seriously think, if not before the 20th, at some point after the 20th, he will go to jail.
Yeah.
He will. And he'll try to fight. He'll try to pay his way out. He'll try to leave the country. I guarantee you there's a very strong chance he's going to go to jail no matter what. It's without a doubt. We cannot. I would lose absolutely all faith in America, and I will be looking for the soonest plane ticket out of here if it doesn't happen. Like, obviously, I'm speaking hyperbole here. I'm not actually going to leave. But that's how emotional I feel right now about it. That's how violently passionate I feel about getting this asshole in jail and in handcuffs. That will be my birthday present for the next 10 years. Just give me a photo of Trump in handcuffs. I will take it.
Yeah.
You know.
But what's your third point?
My third point being, about the discrepancy between the riots. That's the third point. About let's talk about what happened when BLM. They weren't even trying to go up the Washington steps. They weren't trying to overrun the Capitol. They were walking the streets just to raise awareness. Mm-hmm. They weren't destroying any property. They weren't going out there with Molotov cocktails or guns, shooting places up, trying to take the Capitol because somebody told them to.
Yeah.
Biden didn't tell them to do that. No congressman told them to do that.
They did that out of their own, because
they did that because Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, they didn't do it because a politician told them to do it.
They did it because Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Lives matter.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's why they did it.
Just think about it. People did this because George Floyd, a regular man, was unjustly killed.
And before anybody jumps in and says, oh, he was really a criminal, this, that, the other, you really think that anybody, who's counterfeiting deserves to be executed like that in the streets in such an inhumane way?
Yeah.
If you think so, you're the problem.
And not just him, by the way, numerous people. And we're black people, white people, Hispanics, numerous people all around the United States who have been murdered for no reason whatsoever. Elderly, people with mental health issues that weren't, properly being taken care of. It's, oh my gosh, there's so much of it.
It is. And it's a discussion for other topics like healthcare reform and stuff like that. We'll get to it.
But the point I'm trying to make is, this is why people went to the streets. Why did they storm the Capitol? Was it because there was somebody who was unjustly killed? No, because Donald Trump lost the election. Yeah. That was
it.
That was the only reason they were there, was because Donald Trump lost the election, and they felt that if they stormed the Capitol, they might be able to turn that around.
Well, let me clarify exactly. Because yes, it was because Trump lost, but it was because Trump has been pumping them for years, telling them, I'm your guy. Yeah. I'm your guy no matter what. If I lost, it's because they stole it, so we have to steal it back. It's because Trump told them to do it. Mm-hmm. And you have Rudy Giuliani being the fucking coach in the background. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this, that, the other. Who gets on stage and says, let's have trial by combat so we can have the country? Who in the right fucking mind ever thought that would be a good idea? Apparently Giuliani. But you know what? I can have 1,000 words I want to give that man and still would never be enough.
What a mess.
It is a mess because people died.
Yeah.
I don't want to overstate that. I do have sympathy for people who died, even if you're against me or for me. Death should never happen except in a natural setting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
People died because they rioted over a stupid cause. A police officer died because people rioted over a stupid cause. Congress was in jeopardy because people were fighting for a stupid cause.
And you know what's funny about all this? Even though a Trump supporter died, even though this chaos...
4 Trump supporters died.
4 Trump supporters. Okay. Even though 4 Trump supporters died, even though they stormed the Capitol, even though they created all this chaos, Donald Trump actually accepted defeat.
Yeah, he accepted defeat when all of his aides forced him to.
Yeah, they had to force him to. But
so he didn't really accept defeat. He was forced to do it.
QAnon is a fucking virus on the minds of these people.
Also, I love all the people that are going and saying how like QAnon is underground or QAnon's the traitor and shit like that. Like, no, QAnon's a fucking troll and you fell for it.
Yeah, it's a lie.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
You literally drank the Kool-Aid. This was the whole thing is a lie. They were lying to you. It was so obvious. So many people could tell you. It's like, oh, this is obviously a cult. But people fell for it because it's what they wanted. It's like, it sounds like this amazing, like it's everything you ever wanted. So I'm going to believe in it. Like fucking problem. Santa Claus.
Here's the problem. And it speaks to America's problem as a whole. I mean, Trump capitalized on it. Nobody wants to be good. Everyone just wants to feel good.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We have a bunch of older generations of people indoctrinated under these, these extremely far right-wing and white supremacist views who fall into this, who feel entitled because they've always had it this way.
Yeah.
But they want that entitlement without the acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. Acknowledge why you got it and then actually fight for something good. If you want to be that great, make it great.
Yeah.
Don't just put yourself on a platform that you have to steal from everyone else to build it and say, oh, I'm great, because you fucked everyone else over in the process. We're not great. You're a thief.
Yeah. Donald Trump has basically done to the American government what super churches did to Christianity.
It's a conversation for another day, but yes, you're right. you actually are pretty right on that one. There's no other way to say it. Trump raped democracy. He fully raped democracy. That's what happened. And we are left alone and trying to figure out what we're going to do. That's literally what happened.
And the thing is, it's really funny. Even once Trump is off the White House, even if they arrest him and everything, and let's say the next 4 years are relatively peaceful, nothing too crazy happens, right? Even after all that, I'm still going to feel like we lost. We literally just...
No, we did lost. Because I didn't mean to cut you off there, but we lost no matter how you look at it. Even that we won all the fucking, the House, the Senate, the presidency, we lost.
Yeah.
Because 40% of our country still backs Trump. And 40% of our country is still being leveraged by the 149 politicians who wanted to overrule.
Because the real loss was just knowing that this happened, knowing that it can happen. That people...
Our loss is the trust in our democracy.
Yeah. And really putting any person above the government is, people actively wanting him to run another, 8 years. It's like, wait, no, we shouldn't, no matter who it is. No matter... Donald Trump is the shittiest possible, outside of him being president. Let's say he wasn't president. That's a shitty person to want to die for. That's a terrible,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like me being I'm going to, fucking worship the church of Ronald McDonald. It's, you know what I mean?
I mean, you do that every time you go to McDonald's.
I'm sure.
But, we talked about the riot and everything. Now we need to ask ourselves, where are we going from here? Where are we going from here? Because yes, this happened, but the reality is we still have the Senate, we still have the House, and we do have the presidency. Now, I'll be honest, Biden was nowhere close to my first pick. I think he's too much of a centrist, he's too weak-willed, and cares too much about bipartisanship over what actually needs to be done. That being said, he is in the position to actually do things. I believe Bernie Sanders is about to be he's about to head he's handling a lot of money. I don't know what the actual position is called. I was watching it before we started recording and it's slipping my mind. Budget committee. He's going to be in charge of the budget committee, I believe. And that's going to be great news because we have a couple of progressives in the cabinet, but having Bernie be in charge of this is important because even Bernie will be the first person to say, you don't even need to have my name on it because Bernie cares about policies first. He cares about good action first. If he has to take his name off something for a good policy to go through, he'll do it. And he has done it countless times. And so him being in charge of the budget committee is a big positive swing, in my opinion, towards something that we actually need. We have more progressives in-house now than we have, last two elections. Mm-hmm. So that's great news. Now that we have all of these things, the hardest part, the biggest battle will be fighting the centrist and corporate Democrats to actually get off their ass and do something. I think that's going to be the hardest challenge. But until the inauguration, we still have to be afraid. Even after the inauguration, we still have to be afraid about more uprisings. There are people gathering now in other states and even trying to go back to the Capitol on the 17th, the 18th, the 19th.
I think if I were Biden or anybody really, anybody in Congress, anybody with any kind of ability to change anything, I would try my darndest to just like make sure this never happens again. Make sure we don't ever get another Trump. And I know that's probably impossible. It's going to happen again eventually.
No, but that is a question that a lot of legislatures are asking right now. What do we do to avoid? That's why they're talking about invoking the 25th Amendment. That's why they're talking about impeachment. Mm-hmm. That's why they're talking about all this stuff right now, because they don't ever want this to happen again. And you know, like I said, that's why it's so important to get rid of the 149 congressmen that wanted to object. They are traitors, and they are the things that are blocking any true legislation to actually be put in, whether it be because they filibuster, whether it be because they stand up and object to anything. They'll do it because it gets them their way, even if it's not productive, because what matters to them is, you know, people believing in their message long enough that they can keep, you know, reaping the rewards. Think about it. A congressman makes like $174,000 a year. That's their salary. Name another person you know around you that makes $174,000 a year. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point. You know, they care about their pockets. Legislation controls their pockets. They control their own paychecks. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. That's the reason why they're fighting so much, because the 40% block, as in when I say that, I mean like 40% of Republicans are avid Trump supporters, like almost to the death. That's what I mean by the 40% block. That 40% block is strong enough to challenge anything, to override, you know, votes and any legal calm process. And we don't even need to talk about legislation at that point, because we've seen that this 40% block will literally cause tyranny to get what they want. And if they wanted to, they can incite these riots to do it again. And that's what makes me terrified.
Yeah.
That's why we need people like Cruz to step down, or arrested, better yet. That's why we need people like Troy Niels to step down or be arrested or removed, you know, and stuff like that. We need these people who spat in the face of democracy, our votes, our rights. They need to go. Because if they don't go, then we are openly allowing another opportunity for this to happen again. Not even just tomorrow, not just next week. This could be years from now. This could be after we die. It can still happen.
Yeah.
Unless new legislation is passed to stop anything like this again. I'm not the guy that I can say, you know, what that legislation should be. I'm not a lawmaker. I don't study politics enough.
Honestly, I couldn't figure it out either. So.
But like, it needs to happen.
Yeah.
We have people in place to do this job.
We literally just got like, I mean, I guess in our lifetimes, we haven't seen this. We didn't see this with Bush. We didn't see this with Obama, you know. So it's so bizarre. This is definitely something that, like, I can't see it happening with Biden. I don't think any Biden supporter would storm the Capitol for Biden.
They wouldn't.
Because even people who are like 100% with Biden.
Well, let's acknowledge this elephant in the room. The reason why Biden won was because he wasn't Trump.
Exactly.
That's the reason. We don't have to necessarily worry about a pro Biden, you know, platform to the extent of what we saw
Which
here.
Which is a good thing.
It is, but it also speaks to the fact that he only won because he wasn't Trump.
Yeah.
It doesn't speak to his policies. It doesn't speak to what good he can do or what ill he can do. And that's what worries me, is that we aren't focused enough right now on what he should be doing.
Yeah.
But like I said, politics in itself, I am putting onto my own channel and stuff independent from this podcast and the company. But this was just such a big news, we obviously couldn't not talk about it.
I think it's also funny that a lot of people have been doing the whole like, oh, obviously there were Antifa spies.
I hear that, but like that's the funny thing. We hear everybody say, oh no, this was Antifa coming in looking like MAGA and all this. I'm like, how can you say that when there's two things against you? There were a bunch of MAGA chuds sitting there saying their name, where they're from, and you can look up their accounts, you can look up their history. It is all pro-Trump past 4 years. And aside from that, you have a lot of them who are getting angry at other Trump supporters saying, no, why would you dismiss what I did? Mm-hmm. Why would you not acknowledge what we did? This was Trump. This was MAGA. And I'm just like, they're imploding. It's finally time.
I love this so much because it's like, there's the two sides, the side that's like, oh, this is bad. That wasn't us. And then the side that's like, oh, that was absolutely us. What are you talking about?
Like, give us the credit we earn. I was like, no, I'll give you all the credit for that. Trust me, I will.
Yeah. And I love this so much because it's like people don't know what to do. And
because they're finally seeing the truth. They're finally seeing the fact that Trump lied to them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a call. I don't know if it was here in Houston, but there was a call I saw where a woman called the her local news station, and you can hear her crying on the phone. She's like, all I want to know is, did Trump lie to me? And I'm like, it's happening. Yeah. It's happening.
I also kind of love the simple fact that, look, if it was Antifa, why weren't they doing this during the BLM protests?
Right. Like, or why did we see a fuckload of MAGA flags and Trump flags? Why did we not see the Democratic Socialist flag or the Antifa flag that you see all the other times?
Yeah. What does Antifa have to gain from this too? Because we know what the reasoning they say that there was obviously the vote was unfair. Votes were stolen.
No, but that's the thing. So, that's probably the one thing I agree with him about MAGA is that the votes were unfair, but they were unfair to the Democrat. They were unfair to the Democrats because of how many times did we hear Republicans complain that they didn't get to fucking see over the fucking votes, or that they didn't get to watch, be the poll watchers, or as many as they wanted to, complain this, that, and the other, fighting for harder legislation, fighting for harder laws, which in a lot of states and counties passed. And you're still saying that the vote was robbed from you when we followed all your legislations and all your rules? We did everything you wanted and you still lost. It's not us, except the problem is you.
Yeah.
But they won't do it.
They won't do it.
They won't do it.
And I like I said, it's so obvious. I think sometimes you just gotta accept that you lost.
But we're Americans. We can't accept that. Remember?
No, that's true.
That's the basis that Trump ran on. We're Americans. We don't lose. Let's make America great again. The whole campaign.
Yeah, no. Man, there's so much going on. This is just a layer.
It is.
I can't wait for the whole book about this this whole Trump campaign. Trump's entire presidency, the whole 4 years and before and after. That's going to be an encyclopedia right there. It's going to be a big old fat yellow books.
This is going to be an entire chapter in people's history books. The Trump era.
What I love about this is that this goes before and after.
It does.
It didn't start at the beginning of his presidency. This started way before that. Way before that.
Well, I will let you know. I'm actually, for my other series, I am working on a 3-part mega series, I guess, because they're all going to be like an hour-long video where I explain how we got here.
Yeah.
I'm researching how we got here, so I'll let you know if you want to actually really know when that happens.
Yeah, actually do let me know, because that sounds interesting.
Yeah, because ultimately what it is that we're experiencing a unique time in history where both of our parties are imploding, but for very different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want to cover in that series, but I'll leave that kind of conversation point for that.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to hear me on that, I will definitely let you know in the future whenever stuff like that's available. But this is not the time to be promoting.
Yeah, of course. But that whole thing was absolutely insane. Everybody, I'm glad that something's being done about it. Apparently, we're catching some of the people who went out there and stole documents.
Again, they should never have even been able to get home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's also just briefly going to mention, didn't Trump send out the entire, what was it? Was it the Navy? No.
No, Trump didn't send anybody out. Let's be clear. Trump did not send anybody out.
No, but I'm talking about during BLM.
Oh yeah, no, he sent out what was it? He sent out the ATF, he sent out the DEA, he sent out the Capitol Police, he sent out DHS, he sent out, obviously the National Guard. There were many other people who were there voluntarily, such as a Texas prison, security team was there. Mm-hmm. They were there in full riot gear, no police patches anywhere. And that's the biggest thing. He sent out federal agents who have no bearing, who have no markers, to kidnap people off the streets and put them in unmarked vans. Oh my God, I will never stop talking about that, how we literally had a Gestapo.
And then, a few months later, we're over here storming the Capitol.
And we're surprised.
And nothing happened? What? Wait. Where is the entire U.S. fucking military. Come on, guys.
Right?
Really? Like, it's the Capitol.
When the BLM protesters were there, the fucking cops were armed days before they even got there.
Mm-hmm.
But when MAGA chuds had been there for fucking days before this happened, we're all going to act surprised and be unprepared? No. You saw police officers high-fiving and taking selfies with the rioters. You saw them essentially let them in. There's discrepancy about what that means because you see the Trump supporters fucking pulling open the barricades. Here's the fact. You see cops standing there kind of backing up. They let them in. And there is no two ways about it.
And I love the fact that everybody who stormed the Capitol has a phone, and we're taking pictures.
No, not just taking pictures. A lot of them were live streaming. They were fucking periscoping.
So this is extremely well documented, meaning you can't be like, what? Like,
dude,
it's there.
Dude, the governor of Maryland had all the fucking National Guard at the border ready. They said, Trump, let us know. And Trump said no. Trump did not let the National Guard come in from Maryland. We were ready. Mm-hmm. And he said no. He wanted this.
He wanted this because it's well, we don't even have to say why.
This was his last stand.
I know.
This was his last chance to take power.
Yeah, it's so transparent. Trump is so transparent about what he wants and what he's willing to do, which is anything.
But the thing is because he's so charismatic and appeals to white culture, of course he won. Because who's running everything? The Republicans, who are AKA pretty much white culture leaders in our democracy, who do everything they can from gerrymandering to restricting votes to doing whatever they can to make it harder. They'll fucking close polling locations to make people wait hours and make lines last for miles to vote.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, this can't be seen as lawful. This cannot be seen as something good. It just can't.
Yeah, no, it's embarrassing. It just straight up is embarrassing.
It truly is embarrassing. And being a white man myself, I am appalled. Like, I knew, like, you know, white people in general, we don't have a great track record. There's no two ways about it. We have a horrible track record with how we treat people and how we treat our employees and you know, neighbors and XYZ and stuff like that. There are tons of good white people, of course. But when you have a history of people doing fucked up things, and when you have people in power who do these fucked up things that are all technically legal, so we're okay with it, that doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
That makes me appalled by who we are and the image that I carry just being a white man. Yeah. I'm not saying, oh, woe is me. Yeah. I don't want people to think that that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm proud to be who I am, and I'll fucking walk around with my chin held high.
Yeah.
But this imagery is not good. Not in the fucking slightest.
No, it's not.
And I want to do what I can to help correct it.
It really sucks so much because you literally just told the world anybody can come to our most sacred buildings
and trample on it.
And trample on it, steal stuff, and we're not going to do anything about it because we have an idiot in office. And because people will worship that idiot. And it's just like, oh.
It's apocryphal.
I mean,
it's apocryphal, it's sad, it's disappointing, because we've told every other country out there, look how weak we are.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We showed every country out there we are so weak and so fragile, even our own fucking idiots and rednecks can come out and take over us.
And I'll be honest, before Trump, we were still...
we had a very strong image, but our infrastructure was terrible.
Yeah, no.
Our handling was terrible.
People still hated us. Rightfully so, may I add. We've done a lot of bad things as a country. And now...
even to ourselves.
Even to ourselves. And now not only did we... Okay, we're the jock. We are both the jock. We are both the jock in this whole situation. And we're also the dweeb who keeps getting his head jammed in the toilet. You know, like every fucking stereotype ever. We are.
Not even. We're the fucking loony guy who blames that everything's the problem while making things worse for himself. Yeah. That's what we are.
Yeah, we are embarrassing.
It's just a shame.
It's a shame.
I'm okay with being the madman out of my friends. I'm okay with annoying everyone with the fucking truth about this.
Yeah.
But when you're proven right, I gotta say, I hate to be right about this, but it's some good feeling to be right. You know,
because we know we've been right.
We know,
and we knew
this was coming.
We keep trying to tell people. I almost kind of wish I could time travel, right, and like go back in time and be like, by the way, in so and so and so and so, mark my words, this is gonna happen. and I want to see what the reactions would be, because it would probably be like, oh, we would never do that.
Well, obviously, hindsight being 2020, if I knew this was happening, I would have voted I would have done what I could to help Kulkarni win. I would have been like, dude, let me know how I can help you. Let me know how I can help you. But, this is just a lesson for the future. I think we've exhausted as many viewpoints and frustrations as we can out of this. It's difficult. It's difficult to digest. It's difficult to accept that this happened to us, and at the same time, kind of an examination of just reality. Like the rest of our peers, I don't know if you've seen this, but I've definitely seen this. Nobody seems to be that phased. They're like, oh, that happened. And then they just go back on with their lives. Like, no. Do you not understand the full ramifications of what just happened? Of course you don't, because we're dumbed down. Mm. We're treated like babies by corporations who rule us. We are so attracted to the latest and greatest tech and all the new shiny things that we've just become emotional husks of real people. We're not Americans. We're just statistics. That's what we are.
And the thing is, like, yeah, it really, and the reason this isn't all that, and it's shocking, but
it's like both shocking and not.
Yeah, it's like, of course they did that. That's not out of character. They said they were going to do this.
I know, but like, well, I guess Heath Ledger said it best as the Joker. If it goes according to plan, nobody's going to lose their mind. We all knew this was coming. No wonder everyone on the streets doesn't care, because we knew this was coming and we did nothing about it.
Yeah,
I hate it, but it really does fit here.
Yeah.
This was all according to Trump's plan. We knew it was happening. No wonder nobody's shocked. And that also, I think, is going to be the biggest reason why I'm afraid not much is going to get done about this. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is we do our best as a country to not just leave it behind, but see what happened, examine what happened, and grow from there. Like get the Trump example and see, okay, what led to this? Why are we here now? Why are we trying to fix this? And
that's not even like the bulk of like a lot of work to do. We have all the information. We know what led us here. So we just got to take the information, categorize it appropriately, and say, okay, how do we stop this? How do we stop this? How do we stop this?
The biggest worry I have, though, is it's just knowing that Trump supporters aren't gonna change.
No, they're not. They're not.
Even if after all this, they're like, Donald Trump, what an asshole. Like, even after all that, a new Trump will come up, a new person with a shining personality.
And who's probably not as stupid. That's the thing that makes me afraid. He's probably going to be really smart.
Mm-hmm.
Who's young and suave and knows how to talk to people. He's what terrifies me, is a smart Trump.
Yeah, I just love the idea that these people who maybe read the Bible at some point and saw the description of the Antichrist actually follow the Antichrist,
right?
Like, literally, this is a man who promises everything.
Look, I'm gonna say this right now. Every like super Trump, follower that claims to be Christian can go fuck themselves. They are not Christians. You want to know why? Your king, your savior, Jesus Christ, was a fucking socialist.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole cleansing of the temple because he didn't like how people monetized and made business on the sanctity of temple grounds. He was there and helped, the whores and the tax collectors and the lame and XYZ. He helped them.
Yeah.
He did what he could because he said if a rich man has wealth, he should give it to the poor.
I mean, these people, and a lot of them, would probably be okay. Like, if somebody was like, hey, so right next to this picture of our Lord Jesus Christ, we're thinking about erecting a statue of Donald Trump. So I'm sure...
Because that's what I think about when I think divinity.
Yeah, because nothing screams divinity like Trump steaks.
Like I'll be honest. I'll be open and honest. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a religious person. I grew up in the church, so I know all about it. I don't know all about it, but I know enough, to be able to call out bullshit when I see it.
Yeah.
This is hypocrisy at its finest.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say there's still a lot of biblical teachings I still follow because they're good teachings. It's just, I'm going to be honest. I'm not surprised. I'm just ashamed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because their vote counts just as much as yours. And you can obviously see that it shouldn't. In this one example, I'm going to say this. In this one example with Trump, it should not have counted.
Exactly.
But like I said, questions for like where we go from here and whatnot, these are the things that we leave in the hands of our legislators. And I hope they finally get off their ass and do the right thing. I hope they finally say, you know what? No, we cannot risk this ever again. Mm-hmm. I hope they do what's right. And until we get another election cycle, we'll leave it in their hands. You know, I talk about this and ramble on in my personal life about this all the time. I'm happy we got to talk about it here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we kind of waited a couple of days because I honestly didn't know if more shit was going to happen or not. I think for now it's fine. It's calmed.
Mm-hmm. Knock on wood.
Right.
Yeah.
But I am, you know, just to sum it up, I am terrified. I am scared. I'm truly scared. I hate to say that I have the privilege of being white.
Mm-hmm.
It will take me far, but at the same time, there's enough about me that, you know, you don't see on the surface that was against this kind of rhetoric. That's against what the Republican and, you know, pro MAGA, you know, team wants. And not even just for me. Obviously, I'm terrified for anybody else. You know, obviously black people, obviously Asians, Arabics, you know, Mexicans, Hispanics in general. Everyone who's not white, I am scared for.
Mm.
Everyone who's not straight, I am scared for. You know?
I'm not afraid of these next 4 years. I'm actually kind of afraid of what comes after. Because I'll be honest, like, I'm not worried that Biden's going to start a coup. I'm not worried that Biden has some kind of cult personality, because he doesn't.
No.
And which is great. I'm so happy about that.
Of course. And he actually wants things to go as they're supposed to go. That's probably one of the biggest things I like about him right now, is that he wants the process to work as the process is meant to work.
Yeah, but I'm more afraid of whoever he has to run against. Or you know what? I'm hoping that we get somebody who maybe he's the anti-Trump. He's in the best way possible, of course. I mean this as in, like, this is literally somebody so great, which, it's so hard to imagine somebody who's pure and wants to fix everything and cares about everyone from all backgrounds. It's like, what? But it's progressive and forward-looking. I mean,
well, like I said, there is a rise of progressives in Congress now, and this I've heard from several friends that there is no better excuse to be given than what happened here for, you know, stopping police brutality and stuff like that, for supporting Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. This is the greatest example. This is the greatest piece of evidence ever for us to never have another Republican in our lifetime. That's possible.
I mean, yeah.
It really is possible.
Especially if they're so willing to do everything for one.
Yes. This is probably, if we do it right, this is probably the greatest chance for progressive reform in the next 6, 10, 12 years.
Because it does show the flaw with Republicans right now.
The biggest thing right now is the next election. That I think is going to, like, in 2 years for Congress.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the largest tell of our future. Because if we keep having more progressives in, I think we got a good chance.
Yeah.
But if Republicans take back either the House or the Senate, that's where I'm scared. Because that tells me, no, they still have a very strong basis that isn't going anywhere. That this wasn't enough to fizzle out that flame. That's what scares me.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
But, you know, that's my final thoughts.
I'm with you, yeah.
I hope, you know, things go out better than how we came into this year.
Yeah.
I hope we have, you know, the reforms and legislation that we need. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic.
I think we literally said everything we could.
Yeah, no, like I said, I have been spouting this for weeks, even before the coup and everything. I've been pissing off family and friends alike, you know. But it's you know, if you're not making enemies, are you even doing it right? I guess that's kind of the mindset I've been going with.
That's fair.
You know.
Yeah, no, I'm not really talking to relatives on Facebook, but I'm pretty sure most of them are pretty anti-Trump. Man, I actually did unfriend a person or two, and you know what? I haven't used Facebook in a while, but I unfriended just because I was like, you know, you're pissing me off. It's like you're obviously not listening to me.
Right.
I'm trying to help you, because to be honest, like, I'm not saying oh yeah, we should hang all these people. It's like no, we should help them. We should try to help them, and if they don't listen, then fuck, they're dumb.
Right.
They literally don't want to listen. Especially after this, it's like, come on.
Like, no, like, there's literally a passage in the Bible. Don't ask me where it is. I couldn't tell you, but I love it so much. That's why I have it memorized. Where to paraphrase, it basically says, you know, don't try to preach to a man who talks too much. You'll never get through to them. And yeah, you're right. Don't preach to somebody who won't listen to you, who talks too much to even have a chance to listen to you, because you'll never get through.
Yeah.
They've made up their minds, and that's fine. That's fine if you've made up your mind. But you know what? I still kind of care about the little nuances and details about things. So, you know, I don't know. I'm I'm exhausted from all this. That's the bottom line.
I think I'm ready to stop. Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say.
I want to go back to dark, creepy shit, which we will do.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, it's time to really get in some news and details about what's going on, about some things that I had planned for the podcast.
Okay.
Because of the holiday season was going on, everyone who was working on this, even the artists and, other stuff, like we've all been busy in our personal lives, which is a big reason why we took the unscheduled hiatus. I did lose my grandma right before we went on this hiatus, which was a big kind of driving force for why I wasn't available. But it's been long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Time to get back to it. But for obvious reasons, with the American political system and job market and coronavirus as it is, things are still hard.
Yeah.
So for the foreseeable future, we will eventually get back to a normal cycle. But for the foreseeable future, we will be going on a every 2-week basis for right now.
Yeah, until we can get back to speed.
Because not only will that give us time to heal from everything that's been going on and, get to an appropriate place that we can get stable again. This also gives us time to really refine our research and, possibly even get some episodes recorded on the back burner. So that way we can get back out to, once a week like I really want to.
Yeah.
I know whenever we started this podcast, this was something you had suggested a long time ago about doing it every 2 weeks. And I was very much against it. But I think I personally hit that point where there's just no avoiding it. If we want the show to continue, I very much want to, and I know you do, this is just how it's going to have to go for right now.
Yeah, and I understand that sometimes, we got to make sacrifices in order for us to, heal or just work more comfortably. There's something wrong with, I really do believe that there's nothing wrong with taking a bit of time to help yourself out.
No, and we should have a system that supports that.
Yeah.
But that goes back into politics, and like I said, that's an independent show from this.
That's right.
That's an independent show from this.
Definitely go straight into politics right there. I could just go whoop.
Yeah, no. But long story short, man, this is I have high hopes for where we're going, for it with the podcast and the company. I don't know if you've checked it recently, but we have been hitting new milestones with people watching every day.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, we used to, when we first started, obviously with no advertisement and whatnot, we'd get maybe 10, 50 people listening every day. Now, if the trends continue, we're getting anywhere from 150 to 200 people listening every day. And this had stopped while we were on hiatus.
Yeah.
But in the last week, I had been seeing these spikes.
That's awesome.
It is. And this is a big reason also I wanted to get back into it, because I was like, you know what? We have to, get ahead of this. We make good content. We have people who tell us we make good content all the time. They also tell us where we can improve, and that's where we try to improve. I know this is, like I said, a very informal episode from how our format should be. But when it comes to, something like storming the Capitol, you can't really prepare for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we are definitely going back to our normal format. From this episode being released on this Tuesday that you listened to, I don't remember the date off the top of my head. What's today? The 9th? The 10th?
Yeah, no, it's the 10th.
Okay, so on the 12th, when this episode comes out, from there on, it will be every 2 weeks. We will release a new episode until, we can get back to on a weekly cycle.
Yeah.
Because like I said, this break from the podcast will also, afford us the time for other projects that we're working on for Network Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be able to get other stuff off the ground, and that's kind of why we need the cushion.
Yeah.
But when we get those going, you guys will obviously be the first to know, and hopefully by then our podcast can go back to every week. I really hope. I think we can get there before the summer. That's my personal goal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something I'm going to hold everyone to. I just want to see if we can get there.
Yeah. No, I'm down for that. I'm down for whatever we need to do.
Yeah, I'm excited because we're also about to hit over 10K plays on all of our episodes.
Sweet. 10K
was a lot.
That's a lot.
We got very close to that by the end of last year. We were almost 8K, and then with the past week alone, we got another almost 2K.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see where else we go.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. I'm glad we're back. Glad we're making new episodes again.
Absolutely. I already have 5 other episodes we're researching because we got 2 new researchers now.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting them to understand how we write our scripts. That's really the hardest thing right now, but most of them seem to be getting it pretty easily from the other ones that we have too. So getting episodes out is going to be a piece of cake. It's just a matter of scheduling right now. So yeah, I mean, that's it. If we have other good news or other things to share with you, you guys will obviously be the first to know. Just check out all of our social media, obviously. But yeah, I think this is a good stopping point. I think this is where we're going to go. I need a stiff drink after all this, man.
I would say the same thing, but I got to drive home. So
no, you're good. But yeah, we love you all. We can't wait to see you in another 2 weeks. Bye.
Right, later.